If you organize your mind to a certain level of organization, it in turn organizes the whole system. Your body, your emotion, your energies, everything gets organized in the directions. Once all these four dimensions of you, your physical body, your mind, your emotion, and the fundamental life energies are organized in one direction. Once you are like this, anything that you wish happens without lifting a little finger actually. It would help to assist it with activity, but even without doing any activity, you can still manifest what you want if you organize these four dimensions in one direction and keep it unwavering in that direction for a certain period of time. A well-established mind, a mind which is in a state of samyukti, is referred to as a kalpavriksha. If you organize your mind to a certain level of organization, it in turn organizes the whole system. Your body, your emotion, your energies, everything gets organized in the directions. Once all these four dimensions of you, your physical body, your mind, your emotion, and the fundamental life energies are organized in one direction. Once you are like this, anything that you wish happens without lifting a little finger actually. It would help to assist it with activity, but even without doing any activity, you can still manifest what you want if you organize these four dimensions in one direction and keep it unwavering in that direction for a certain period of time. A well-established mind, a mind which is in a state of samyukti, is referred to as a kalpavriksha. If you organize your mind to a certain level of organization, it in turn organizes the whole system. Your body, your emotion, your energies, everything gets organized in the directions. Once all these four dimensions of you, your physical body, your mind, your emotion, and the fundamental life energies are organized in one direction. Once you are like this, anything that you wish happens without lifting a little finger actually. It would help to assist it with activity, but even without doing any activity, you can still manifest what you want if you organize these four dimensions in one direction and keep it unwavering in that direction for a certain period of time. A well-established How do you deal with something that you don't like? Well, if you find somebody who is weaker than you, punch their face into pulp. If you don't find anybody, punch a glass pane, break something, throw something, scream, yell, obscenities. You're setting a culture that I will go mad is like a kind of a qualification. The line between sanity and insanity is so thin, so thin. If you push it too often, one day you will cross, because life within you understands you want to be on the other side. So, this has not been taken charge of. We are treating it like some external things are causing our experience. No. Human experience is essentially caused from within. What the world throws at us is not entirely determined by us. So many things happen, all right? But what happens within us is entirely our business. Definitely in the movies, how do you deal with something that you don't like? thing is you must eat water. That is, the food that you eat must have substantial water content. Most vegetables are over 70% water. Fruits are largely over 90% water. That is the reason why it is very easily digestible. It is very important. The food that you eat is not hard work for the body. It must be easy for the body to handle it. You buy a petrol car and pump diesel into it, it's hard work for the car and it cannot function at the optimal level. Now, it goes to the garage too often. That's what is happening to the system right now.
Meine dunklen Flecken sind fast weg.
Garnier Vitamin C Serum.
It's been discovered, or we have observed, that in our brain there are millions of cannabinoid receptors. So what is this? Lots of speculation went on. So naturally, people who are on the dope, they said, this means everybody must smoke, or this means anthropologically all of us, all human beings at some time were smokers. Then they came up with this, that these cannabinoid receptors are there because the body is supposed to produce this. The brain carries millions of receptors and the body is supposed to produce the endocannabinoids. So, this production it can be either on or off depending upon how you have kept yourself. That within yourself you can generate a chemistry which keeps you always blissful. But the most important aspect of it is, when it comes from outside, it keeps you… maybe it makes you blissful for a brief amount of time, but it makes you unaware. When it comes from within, it keeps you blissful and makes you super aware, which is the important thing. So this is not about trying to become some kind of a superhuman being. This is about realizing being human itself is super. And once you are blissful by your own nature, you always see that your life is super. It doesn't matter, some situations in our life go well, some don't go well, some happen our way, some don't happen our way, but this one life should be always happening our way.
Sadhguru John Sviokla, lovely to be with you, some of your work. In a
Number of rooms that you explore in your mind will become very limited. If our focus and our attitude is not about survival, because survival essentially means we want to build a wall of protection around ourselves. Well, you see all the creatures are always trying to create boundaries. That comes from our evolutionary memory that we want to survive, and surviving is a very important process. If we don't survive, then what next? There's nothing else. So we must survive. But is it necessary that your survival instinct is always on? If you are a wild creature, yes, it must be always on. But we evolved to this point where our cerebral cortex opened up, blossomed into this possibility, where once you become a human being, your survival doesn't fulfill you anymore. In the sense, for example, for all the other creatures, if their stomach becomes full, their life is settled. But for a human being, if stomach is empty, there's only one problem. If stomach becomes full, there are 100 problems. This is the nature of a human being. Because for a human being, life does not end with fulfillment of survival requirements. In fact, life begins only after survival is taken care of. This is the nature of a human being. And no matter where you are, in what position you are in your life, you want to be something more than who you are right now. If that something more happens tomorrow morning, once again you want to be something more. So something more, something more, something more goes on. If I make you the CEO of one galaxy, you will say, I want to… what about the other galaxies? So, this is how human nature is, it wants to expand in a limitless way. When we say expand in a limitless way, we want to expand into our infinite nature. So can anybody count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and get to infinite nature? No, that's never going to happen. So the important thing is to be able to distinguish between our survival instinct and longing to expand. Our longing to expand infinitely is finding a constipated expression, which we call as ambition or desires and things like that. Essentially, it is a very small expression of this longing to expand. This longing to expand, if you make it a conscious process within you, then you will see your survival instinct will come down to its minimum levels. When that happens, your mind opens up to various possibilities. In many ways, this is what these chemicals are doing. It puts down your survival instinct to such a level. There have been cases people have left off mountain peaks, tall buildings and things like that because their survival instinct is gone. They cannot even understand that if I fall off this, this is going to end my life. So because survival instinct has come down forcefully, not consciously. So consciously producing these experiences from within and forcefully doing it from outside, these are two different things. Here and there somebody might have felt that because something opened up, they benefited from that, but you look at the larger consequence of such experiences, most of the time it's left people either frustrated or disturbed or imbalanced. Very, very few people can really claim they have benefited from that.
You mentioned that the mind has millions of rooms.
They become hallucinatory. And if you believe hallucination is an exploration, no, it is not. Hallucination is your attempt to cross the line of sanity, and you may succeed. That is the whole problem. So, logic is the foundation, but we cannot live in the foundations. Well, of course, in United States, if you live in the foundation, it's called basement, but in the rest of the world, it's called a dungeon. So you can't live in the foundations, you have to build a superstructure. So there is logic, but on the surface of life, if you look at it, everything is logical, everything falls into logical patterns. But if you look at life little more profoundly, then you find nothing subscribes to logic. Everything, has a magical element to it. I'm using logic, magic as a thing. Let's say anything that's not logical is magical. If something happens here which you cannot logically figure, generally you would think it's magical. So there are millions of spaces in your mind which are magical in nature. But now we are speaking. When you speak, you will use a language. When you use a language, it has to be logically correct. If I say something illogical, you will think I've gone crazy. So I will not take that risk right now. You come if you want to explore, we can set you up on something. You do whatever the hell you want, just do it well, that's important. And don't do any damn thing that you will be ashamed of doing tomorrow, isn't it? What other people say, it doesn't matter, but you should not be ashamed of what you have done, isn't it so? Hello? This much you must keep, this much pride and freedom you must keep in your life. It doesn't matter, the whole world says you're wrong, but you are not ashamed of what you have done. That much you must always keep in your life. If that one thing, if you give up, I'm telling you, you'll live a very poor life. You may have everything, but you'll have nothing. You do whatever the hell you want, just do it well, that's important. And don't do any damn thing that you will be ashamed of doing tomorrow, isn't it? What other people say, it doesn't matter, but you should not be ashamed of what you have done, isn't it so? Hello? This much you must keep, This much pride and freedom you must keep in your life. It doesn't matter, the whole world says you're wrong, but you are not ashamed of what you have done. That much you must always keep in your life. If that one thing, if you give up, I'm telling you, you'll live a very poor life. You may have everything, but this happened. They did not come as invaders. They did not come as religious crusaders. They just came as bandits. They were amazed how developed and how economically strong and so much wealth, but unprotected. Because they were men involved in profound music, mathematics, astronomy, astrology, all kinds of things. But there were not too many fighting men. So it was a walkover. Because society was so evolved, people understood what are the laws. If I steal yours, they did not come as invaders. They did not come as religious crusaders. They just came as bandits. They were amazed how developed and how economically strong and so much wealth, but unprotected. Because they were men involved in profound music, mathematics, astronomy, astrology, all kinds of things. But there were not too many fighting men. So it was a walkover. Because society was so evolved, people understood what are the laws. If I steal yours, tomorrow you will steal mine, and the whole society will collapse after some time. So people were so wise and evolved. We had such a profound culture where people were not in that fighting mode, but involved profoundly into these things, and laws were absolutely respected by everybody. So they thought the people who came from outside also was going to respect this, but they were in for a surprise. By the time they recovered, it was all over. When the Islamic invasions happened, this happened. Did not differentiate between sage and scientists. Our scientists were sages, our sages were scientists. Because we don't have a religious tradition, we only have spiritual One important thing is we did not differentiate between
this new microbiome science is relatively new, 15 years that people have reported about potential influences of microbes or their chemicals that they produce with the brain. Within a relatively short time, this has kind of made it.
Unfortunately, this is happening. That what happened a minute ago, people cannot remember. And we are beginning to assume it's normal. This is not good. This is not normal. Because everything in this body is designed to last a lifetime. Sometimes due to injury or infection or something else, an external aggression of some kind may destroy something. But we're destroying something from internally. That is the dumbest way to do things. But we are doing that large scale. If we want to really fix it for the entire population, if you don't overhaul the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and the water systems, those who supply water to you, and think what kind of genius would add poison to water and drink it? Every city dweller is doing this. If you don't understand what I'm saying, put 10% chlorine in your drinking water, 1 cup of water, and drink it and see what happens to you. Only thing is, you think by taking it in mild doses, you will die slowly. Of course you will. In my understanding, sir, if I'm wrong, please tell me. How I see and how I know life is the tiniest organism that's here, whatever you want to call it. I don't go about christening them with different names. These foundational life which is there, whether it's in a plant, animal, human beings, this life in its fundamental design and structure is not different from ourselves. We are different only in complexity and sophistication, but fundamental design of life on this planet is essentially same. Plant, animal, worm, insect, human being, everybody has the same fundamental design. Just complexities and sophistication of things as they go on is different, of course. So what kills a minute bacteria also will kill me if I take the same thing in a higher dose. Am I okay, sir?
Absolutely.
Am I sounding scientific to you?
Absolutely.
So, we coming to this conclusion, if we mildly poison ourselves, we will be okay. Where does this come from? So, there are many families whose children, both in India and also some in New York City, coming to me and saying, Sadhguru, our children are sick, their physical constitution is so weak, they're becoming asthmatic and they're struggling daily. At least, 3 to 4 weeks in a year, they're in hospital. I say, you made enough money. You may not be a billionaire, it doesn't matter. You have enough money to buy 10 acres of land somewhere in Iowa, if you want to, or Tennessee or somewhere. If you really love your children, just move there. Homeschool them, ask them to work on the land half the day, you will see they will grow up as robust youth. After that, let them do whatever they want. So, this whole urban dwelling, where people… no wonder all of you are always experimenting on rats. We've all moved in like a pack of rats into one place, piled up into tall buildings. Now, infections are a serious thing. At that level of proximity, all kinds of things will transmit. See, if the same pandemic, the coronavirus, had happened here, let's say 2 centuries ago, somewhere in one part of the world a few people would have died. Today from Wuhan, it seems they were telling me, I don't know what these numbers are, they say in those 2 months, some 2,700 flights took off from Wuhan to the rest of the world. Oh, this is transporting a disease, all right. If there was no air traffic, they would have spread among themselves, maybe people would have been resilient enough to handle it, it would have been over. Probably 1,000 times these events have happened without any impact on human life. Now, because of the proximity of human beings, anything that comes goes like that. So can we all spread out, move away from the cities and live in farms? That's not a reality. Not everybody can do it, the nature of our professions, work, various things won't allow that, lifestyles, all this. But if you find you are too susceptible to live in large groups of people, you must do that, that's one thing. About the food that you eat, one most important thing, I don't know how it is seen by the biome science people. In yoga, any food that we cook, if it is more than 1.5 hours after it came off the stove, we won't eat it. I don't have to know the timing when it was cooked, if it appears in front of me. If I just look at it or place my hands on it, I know whether to eat it or not eat it, because body is sensitive to these things. This is the most sophisticated mechanism on the planet, that's what I think. So what do you think, sir?
No, I agree.
This is the supercomputer, this is the supercomputer, this is the motherboard for all the supercomputers, isn't it?
It is.
So, such an sensitive instrument you have, but you can't feel anything. This is because we don't know how to manage our cerebral activity. It's going crazy. Because we're talking about gut, we can use this word. This is a mental diarrhea which is going on. When there is diarrhea, you can't enjoy food. Similarly, when there is mental diarrhea, your abilities of the mind will come down significantly. Will it happen in terms of loss of memory? Will it happen in terms of loss of other faculties? Will it happen in terms of loss of discrimination? This is happening to people and people think it's normal. Let me tell you my life's example. My great-grandmother lived to be 113, 113 years of age. She is married to a very rich, wealthy man, and you know those days in India, these are called landlords. They have large amount of land and they're into a very large business activity and all this. After her husband died when she is 68 years of age, she moved out of the house and built a small temple for herself, not for a god, for herself. You must understand, these are Indian women. This is an Indian woman. She builds a temple for herself. No other deity, she goes and sits there. Built with her own hand a small little temple. And people gather to meet her because people think she has solutions, and she had. So I'm just a little boy at that time and we all go to our native place during the summer vacations only. 35 to 40 days is what I get to spend in that town, otherwise we are all living in cities. So when I go there, and we are about 36 of us children, between the age groups of 3 to 20, all cousins, cousin brothers and sisters, a whole bunch living in various parts of the country, all coming down for the summer. So at that time, because children are there, she would come. By then, she was 100 plus. Like this ramrod straight, she's and from the farm, from her temple, she walks home, which is about 2.5 kilometer walk. And she walks, spends the day with us and everything. And she lives a certain life. There is another dimension to her life, let's not go there. In terms of food, I'm saying. If you give her breakfast, first thing is, she will take it and feed the ants, she'll feed the squirrels, she'll feed the sparrows. More than half will be gone to this. And some days she will eat the remaining. Some days she simply sits there watching them eating and tears will be… she'll have tears flowing out of her eyes. So some self-appointed advisors are always there, even I have them around me. They go and say, "Hey, you old woman, you will die like this without eating." She will just laugh and sit there. All these advisors died. She went on living. And when she was 14 years of age, she got married. In India, the culture is such, an unmarried woman cannot smoke. Once she gets married, it's her choice. If she wants to smoke, she can smoke. So she exercised her choice on day one. So, I've seen her smoking the bidis, it's pure tobacco leaf, just like that, nothing in… just the leaf itself, the outer thing itself is tobacco leaf. She will smoke it with inside, the fire inside, like that, not outside. Every day she smoked and every day she chewed tobacco. At the age of 111, she got throat cancer. She simply said. She made her own liquid. Till the last day she was cooking for herself. With her own hands she makes a little bit of liquid diet and slowly sips it in and simply sits there. No hospital, no painkiller, no doctor, simply sat there. About maybe 15 to 18 months, something like that, she suffered enormous pain, but she didn't say a word. And she died at 113. I'm saying, till the last day, she's as sharp as anybody, okay? This is very much possible for every human being, it's just how you keep yourself. Now we are thinking, if you are 50, blood pressure is normal, if you are 60, loss of memory is normal, what is this? This is not the way human body is made. This is made in such a way, as long as you live, all these things can work. No spectacles, she would read.
Yeah.
At what… when I have seen her at 105, 106, at that age she sits and reads without spectacles.
No, I mean, there's very good evidence for what you said, scientific evidence, that, I mean, the brain does not naturally age. I mean, there's functions that slow down, but these concepts that high blood pressure and high lipids and brain degeneration are all normal phenomena that come with, at age 60 or 70, and that we have to expect this avalanche of people with Alzheimer's disease just because we're aging. So this is the logic right now.
In my understanding, only motor skills can come down with age. That is understandable. It's not necessary for anything else to come down. Your physical agility may not be the same, that's okay.
Yeah, so this is concept about the health span, that really, this should really be the goal, to reestablish the normal health span of individuals, not the longevity, but longevity in a healthy state. But that's not what our economic model is based on. The pharmaceutical industry obviously loves these diseases that kick in at age 60 or 50 and then go on to the rest of their life. One thing I'm always fascinated by, whenever I'm a visiting professor, I compare the size of the medical center that I've been invited to over several years or decades, and they're all growing. They keep growing. So you would think that's not a necessary. That's really not. What's the reason for that? It's because we don't deal with the root cause of the problem.
Yes. See, the thing is, we start commercial activity initially to serve humanity. But slowly, this economic engine has become so large that human beings are the fuel. We have to burn ourselves to somehow keep the economic engine going. This is a complex thing, this is not just any one aspect of this overall approach. We have forgotten that commercial activity is for human well-being. Having said that, let's not simply waste time on talking about things that we can't change. Where can we change? I feel if we can, if it is possible somehow, which we are attempting through these conferences and various things, if we can bring the attention of qualified medical professionals. There are many systems of medicine in the world, but in today's world, because of their inability to organize themselves, they are all just fringe. If all the alternate systems of medicine are put together, I don't know if it is even accounts to 2%, I don't know the stat, I'm just guessing. It may be 2% or less. So essentially, it is the allopathic system of medicine. One important aspect, which I feel small shifts are happening, but not enough to make a difference for the common people. One simple thing is, allopathic system right now symptomatic in its treatment. You have a temperature, we know how to cool you down. You have pain, we know how to take away the pain. We don't have the thing of looking where is the source for this. This is costing a certain amount of illness. One important thing is, somebody that you don't like is driving in front of you and they put on their indicator, they're turning right. You take out… I'm from Tennessee. So you take out your revolver and shoot the indicator out. And now I think he's going straight. No, he's turning right. His indicator is out, so now I think he's going straight, but he's turning right, so there's going to be some issue.
Yeah, let me come back to this, what you said about the micronutrients and how important that is. Our dietitians, everything focuses on the macronutrients, how important, how much protein, endless discussions in social media, how much protein, and, should it be a keto diet or should it be a carbohydrate-rich diet? The thing that people don't talk about are these phytonutrients, these substances that plants produce. So my favorite example are these so-called polyphenols or antioxidants. Every plant produces those, and they're enriched in the most valuable acids that the plant has, the fruits and the seeds, and certain degree in the leaves. And it's the plant's medicine. So during a drought, the production of these polyphenols increases. If the plant is infected by some parasite or some insect, the production goes up. And the microbes in the soil play a big role in regulating this production. So when the plant suffers, parts of the plant, it sends down these distress signals into the root system. The roots produce these sugar-like molecules that attract the soil microbes, and the soil microbes stimulate the roots of the plant, produce more of these polyphenols. So it's this beautiful system.
So if you can explain what's a polyphenol?
So phenols are molecular structures, and polyphenols are multiple of these rings put together. So it becomes a very large molecule, and it's too large to be absorbed by our gut. There was a big enthusiasm about these molecules, and whole industry started. And then they realized when they gave this to humans in human studies.
So please, sir, if you can tell us how we can at least push the science and the scientific community a few inches in this direction, if you can tell us.
Well, I mean, certainly I've been trying at this stage of my career to reach as wide an audience as possible on social media and newsletters and podcasts, and took the risk of really offending a lot of my former colleagues that what
out of life. There is no substitute for involvement. I'm just telling you, do whatever the hell you want. Those who are chasing enlightenment, just relax a bit.
In my life, be it business negotiations or even in marriage.
See, you're misunderstanding this. You're trying to make this into some kind of a value system. You're trying to make it your philosophy. I will do only what works. Well, you took an oath, I will do only what works. Now you don't know what works. Because what works will not come with an oath or a commandment. What works comes with constant observation and evolution of who you are, isn't it? Hello? The same things, how you made them work, how clumsily you made something work 10 years ago, the same thing you may be doing it with ease today, isn't it so? Or you may be doing it clumsily today, you were doing it well at one time. Whichever way, whichever kind of evolution has happened. So, what works is not some kind of a formula. It is an evolution of a human being to come to what works on all levels of life. This is like reading, I mean, you're just falling out of a self-help book. No, I'm not a self-help book. Do what works. Do whatever the hell you want. What's my problem? But what's the point of doing something that doesn't work? Hello? I'm not telling you you should do only what works. Do whatever the hell you want. But for your life, because it's a limited amount of time, what is the point doing something that does not work, isn't it? Either it should work for you or it should work for people around you. If it doesn't work for you and anybody around you, what is the point of doing that damn thing? This happened. Soldiers, American soldiers, were leaving on duty. So, one of them told the other, you know, Steve's wife, she read 3 Musketeers and she delivered triplets. He says, oh my God, my wife is reading Birth of a Nation. What am I supposed to do? That's not how it works. So don't make this into some kind of an ethic or a philosophy, I will do only what works. Well, just to see what works needs a lot of application even for the smallest damn things, isn't it? Hello? To do a smallest thing, like hitting a ball or kicking a ball straight, you know how much it takes? Somebody who can kick a ball where he wants, wow, the whole world is worshipping him just because he kicks a damn ball. Yes or no? Because people understand what it takes. Nobody is worshipping him because he kicks a ball, because people can see what has gone into it. Isn't it so? People can see what has gone into to be able to kick a ball the way he is kicking, what has gone into it, his life has gone into it. So, don't make philosophies and ethics out of everything, or don't tell yourself a commandment. I will do only what works. It's a good commandment, but now you don't know what works. So, no. You need to be conscious and apply yourself to every damn thing. If you just learn this much, that you don't decide what is important and what is not important. I was in the Rally for Rivers board meeting just before I came here in New Delhi. The CII, that is the Confederation of Indian Industry, their board also participated in the Rally for Rivers board because they are looking at how to put this, because slowly people are realizing the magnitude of what has been unfolded. Everybody's trying to be part of it. We have an eminent board, the CEO of the World Wildlife Fund and the topmost water experts and the topmost farmers producer organization people. We have a judge from the Supreme Court, and it's a very eminent board. As this Kaveri calling project was being talked about, and for every question, particularly certain experts had and they were asking, I was casually telling them what to do. They said, Sadhguru, how do you know all these things? I said, right from my early childhood, I just wandered around without any purpose. Without any purpose. Simply I wandered in the jungles, in the forests, in the rivers and this. But I paid absolute attention to every plant, every insect, the air, the moisture, the works and everything. What was aimless wonder today is becoming formidable knowledge that is not written in any damn book. For the first time, somebody is talking in a comprehensive way, not from a textbook. This was just aimless wonder. As a child, as a youth, just wandered around without any purpose. So even if it is purposeless, you can't live without attention, isn't it? Hello? So just do this one thing. Stop discriminating what is important, what is not important. If you pay the same level of absolute attention to every damn thing, you will see that what is the right thing to do is a very natural process. But you have already decided what is important, what is not important. How will you evolve? What is the right thing to do? Half the world is already been given up because it's not important. You are paying attention. Only you even look at somebody properly only if they are of something to you. No, I looked at everybody, absolutely. Every life, every damn thing, every pebble, every moment that was happening in the earth, in the atmosphere, everything. Not as a study, simply because I had eyes and I had an attention span. I paid attention to everything. Today they're saying this is something phenomenal. I was just laughing and saying, see, I just wandered aimlessly. Everybody thought I'm just a vagabond. But now this aimless wandering is paying off in a huge way. Because it doesn't matter what the hell you're doing, small things or big things. If you are absolutely involved, absolutely, you will see, you will know what's the right thing to do. You trying to live here without involvement. This is why you have morals, you have ideals, you have ideologies, you have values, you have ethics, you have commandments. Because you are trying to live here without involvement. You want ready-made formula. What is the right thing to do? Thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. Did the world get fixed, I'm asking? Every goddamn school-going children knows what is the right thing to do. Has it worked? It's not worked because you think there is a substitute for involvement. There is no substitute for involvement. Where there is no involvement, there will be no life. So don't try to make formulas or ideals or ideologies out of life. All life takes is absolute involvement, unbridled involvement, not distinguishing who is who, what is what. Just absolutely involved with everything that you're in touch with right now. If you do this one thing, well, according to your level of intelligence, and nature also should yield. With all this, you will know what is the best thing to do, given your perspective, of course. See, right now, if you bring a man of certain capability, he may do something in a given situation. That's not the right thing to do for you, isn't it? You must know what is the right thing for you to do in a given situation. You won't be able to do what he does. You must be able to do what you can do to the best of your ability. That is the right thing to do in your life. You don't try to do like somebody else. So that will be the problem the moment you decide what is the right thing to do. No, there is no ready-made solution. Involvement. There is no substitute for involvement. Where there is no involvement, there is no life. Let 2019 be a life of absolute involvement, because if you want to experience this life, you need involvement. Whatever the hell you do, will you do it with absolute involvement? Realize that will lead to either transformation or frustration. It may be just momentary for a whole lot of people, because people will feel terrified. You will see they were struggling in pain, this, that was happening. A few are bewildered, what's happening? Because they never thought this will happen to them.
Okay, Sadhguru, I'm going to ask you to move to this poem called Human on page 112.
Oh, I like that number. Unwalled and unfettered, there's literally no human being who is not confronted with a thought and an emotion like that, but they manage to brush it aside. It doesn't bother them enough. The pain of not knowing doesn't tear them, that's the whole problem. They come to terms with ignorance, they make a deal with ignorance. They will build relationships where everybody will confirm this is the best way to live. Of comfort, companionship, love, affection. These are all things you're seeking. I know a whole lot of people have raised human emotions to heavens. If you say love, they say divine love. If you say joy, they say divine… They think United Nations is the institution for peace. No, you cannot institutionalize peace. You cannot institutionalize joy. You cannot institutionalize love or anything for that matter. Institutions are functional instruments in a given society. I have utmost respect for them because without it, people, a whole lot of people wouldn't know how to live. You need institutions, there is a government, there is a democratic process, there are variety of things. Because love gets tedious, somebody's fondness gets very tedious, comfort gets tedious. Because the nature of life is, it wants to constantly expand. If there is no room for expansion, it doesn't matter you are kept in a whatever, I won't use because everybody uses the word golden palace. I think golden palace is totally unaesthetic in my my visual perception. I hate golden palace, but whatever is the most wonderful palace, when will you learn how to handle my…
We deal with it.
See, this is an unfortunate condition that a whole lot of human beings are in their experience. In their personal experience, life is like me versus the universe. Being in competition with the universe is a stupid thing to do. That's not a competition you must get into. Hello? Me versus the universe is a bad competition to get into. Would you also agree with me? So, this is why yoga does not mean your thought and emotion is what you're talking about, right? When are you going to figure out how to handle your thought and emotion? Not hers, not his, yours. When are you going to learn how to handle my thought and my emotion? At the end of your life? The only problem really with life is just this. Most human beings have taken themselves too seriously. They don't understand. You've seen on the computer screen these pop-ups? You are a pop-up on this planet. You pop up for 2 seconds and pop out. No, you must see, countless number of people like you and me have walked this planet. They were also big people. Where are they? All topsoil? Topsoil or no? Unless somebody, your friends decide to bury you real deep.
Möchtest du dein Immunsystem mit einem hochdosierten
You know, there have been such instances. Or maybe you're planning to go to heaven. Hello? And this only, that's how it is in a madhouse. That is how it is in a madhouse, only a doctor looks crazy. So when are you going to handle it? Slowly, at the age of 60? I'm asking. When will you learn how to handle my emotion, how to handle my body, how to handle my chemistry? When are you going to figure this? At the end of your life? Because this culture has grown. When to do spirituality means when you're 70, when you're no good for anything else. No, at the earliest possible time, whatever is most profound about you, not about heavens, about this life, everything that you need to know, you must know soonest, isn't it? Only then you live a sensible life. Okay, if I tell you a joke, you won't get offended. Because this is the most serious crowd I've ever seen in the last few years. How many of them are journalism? Most of them? Okay. This happened. Shankaran Pillai, when he was in Paris, was married to a French woman. So, when are you going to pick your snails and put them in the bucket and fix them? Huh? Your problems, you must fix them, isn't it? These are not problems. I want you to understand, you are not suffering your life. You're only suffering two fantastic faculties that only… It's a privilege of being human that we have these two fantastic faculties. One is, we have a vivid sense of memory. This is because of this memory our life is so rich. unlike any other creature, and we have a fantastic sense of imagination. Now, this is what you're suffering. What happened 10 years ago, you can still suffer. Why? Are you suffering life or memory? Hello? Memory. What may happen day after tomorrow, you're already suffering. Are you suffering life or imagination? Two most fantastic faculties you have, you're suffering. So what are you asking for? You want to become once again an earthworm. An earthworm is a very eco-friendly creature, I have nothing against it. But it took millions of years of evolution to get you this size of brain, and now you're suffering it. If we take away half your brain, of course you will sit there without any anxiety, without any suffering, peacefully. What we need is, we need to remove your brain, because you're suffering your own intelligence. Yes or no? Because we gave you a very complex machine, you have not bothered to read even the user's manual. You want to just blunder around. No, young people, it's time you figure out a few things about you. If you don't know how, we will give you tools how to figure this machine out, because in your life, many issues will come. More issues come up in your life means you're living a more active life. Nothing came up means you're not living. Yes, lots of issues every day. I have the maximum number of trouble going on in my life on a daily basis, because so much of activity around the world, global level of activity only with volunteers, okay? Volunteers means nobody is qualified for the job and you can't fire them for inefficiency, and they love you. What to do? This one thing you must fix, that is, in your life, you are not the issue, okay? Whatever the issue, we'll do our best, but this should not be the issue. Isn't it? When we want to do something in the world, there are too many forces which have to cooperate. Not all of them may cooperate. Never all of them will cooperate 100%. Nobody around you will happen 100% your way. I'm telling you, if you have large expectations of people, no one, not one single person in your life will happen 100% your way. 51% if they happen your way, you have controlling stake on the whole situation. But this one person must happen your way, isn't it, 100%? If this person is happening your way, how do you keep that person? Blissful or miserable?
Blissful.
That's all. You keep this blissful, then in every situation you'll do your best, and that's all you can do. Just because you freak and fret, nothing happens better. So you need to understand this, especially if you have gone through tough situations in life. Say, is it not important that you become wiser sooner than other people? Sooner than other people who grown up in comfort, who do not know what it is to see those things? Is it not very important that you should become wiser? No, instead you choose that you also become miserable because they were miserable people. So let us understand this much. You have an intelligence to recognize that they are living badly. How come you don't have an intelligence to recognize you are living badly right now? And you don't even have the fundamental integrity to see, if I am living badly, it is me who is making this, because there may be situations and situations. For every one of us there are situations. In fact, the more you try to do in the world, the more and more many ugly situations you will have to face, whether you like it or you don't like it, okay? Now, because you face ugly situations, will you also become ugly? or you will use this as manure to blossom into a wonderful flower. This is a choice that you have. So everything that hurts us, everything that in some way is negative in a given situation, whether you will become wise or you will become wounded is your choice. Do not look for ideal situations because there is no such place. There is no such place. Wherever you go, there will be something happening that you think is negative. Whether it's negative or not, I don't want to make a judgment. But in a given place, you think there is negative. A whole lot of people who have applied to get into your institution like ISB, they are all thinking if I enter ISB, it is like heaven. But I'm sure there are many people in your institution who think this is the most horrible place, full of politics, full of nonsense, full of this. Aren't there such people? Hello? I'm sure they are there, you don't become one of them. Because in every place there are issues, all right? Where there are two people, there is an issue. How we conduct these issues depends on, are we in a state of conscious response to these issues, or are we in some compulsive reaction to these issues? This determines how we conduct ourselves. This has become a syndrome all over the world because they've all read a little bit of Freud, little bit of Maslow, little bit of all this European psychiatric stuff. And everybody is a psychiatrist. Because my parents were like this, I am like this. Come on, where is your intelligence? If your parents were like this, you must take a vow, you will never ever be like that. Hello? Yes or no? If your parents lived so badly, if it is true, I don't even know whether they lived badly or not. This is her perception of it, all right? We do not know how they lived, but going by her words, assuming it is true, if they lived badly, is it not your business to see never ever you commit such mistakes as they're committing in their lives? Is this not what human intelligence capable of? Or human intelligence is like, they study rats and make all kinds of conclusions about human beings today. Whole lot of experiments about human beings are on rodents. Be looking at the behavior of the rodents, people say, oh, human beings like this, like this. Is it not a sad story? Being the most evolved creature on this planet, I want you to understand, for you to come to this level of intelligence, it's taken millions of years of work, of evolution, to get you here, to the peak of evolution on this planet. So being the peak of evolution, are we displaying that we are the top of the world? Are we? No, we want to sit on somebody else's head and think top of the world. No, we are already top of the world as human beings, isn't it so? But look at the way we are behaving, all the time complaining about something or the other. Let us understand this. What the world throws at us is not necessarily your choice. But what you make out of it is entirely your choice. Yes? What you make out of it is entirely your choice. Your experience of life, this much you must come to every one of you young people. If you want your potential to open up in the world, one important thing that you must fix in your life is your experience of life, either peacefulness or agitation, either joy or misery, blissfulness or suffering, whatever it is, your experience is entirely made by you. Other people are doing what they want, their drama they're conducting. It is your reaction to that which is causing these experiences to you. Right now, if I abuse you, I won't, I'm just telling you, Mrudu. Suppose I abuse you. The abuse is in my mouth. It is not a bullet, it doesn't come and hit you. But it's your reaction which causes the suffering, isn't it? Suppose I abuse you nicely in Tamil language or Telugu or Kannada, this guy will understand that's a problem. But if I abuse you in a language that you don't understand, with a smile on my face, you will think I'm saying sweet things to you, isn't it? And you'll respond nicely to me. So I'm telling you, your experience of what is happening with you right now is 100% determined by you. Human experience happens from within, not from outside. Outside influences are there. How far we allow them to affect us, unless they're physical situations. You're in a war zone, somebody's shooting at you, that's a different matter, all right? That needs to be dealt with in a different way. Even there, a conscious response will give you better chance of survival than wild reactions. So, the privilege of being human being is this, that we have an intelligence to determine what should be our experience of life. Other creatures are in a natural, instinctive, compulsive reaction. We are above that, but most human beings are trying to disprove this, and they are also in a compulsive state of reaction, and above all, parents. Well, they are living the way they know best, isn't it? If they knew any better, they would have done better. They're doing their best. Well, they gave birth to you, which is a phenomenal thing. Maybe not willingly, but they gave birth to you one way or the other, and they gave you enough food and education and nonsense, whatever you needed, and brought you up to this level. Now don't keep on looking at the rear view mirror forever. They brought you up, you've grown up into an adult, you survived, all right? Many children die early on, parents not being able to provide. A whole lot of millions of children die in the world because parents are not able to provide for the children that they give birth to. They brought you up, you've grown up, you are in the rear view mirror. Please, leave the rear view mirror and look ahead, because you can't fix your past. There is no way you can fix an yesterday, but you can create a tomorrow. Let's make that happen. There is some value to what you think, then you can't stop it. No way to stop it. It'll just go on and on and on. When you see there is absolutely no life value to your process, it is just memory recycling itself. It's just the same old nonsense recycling itself. But if you're excited, if you're enamored by this recycle, if you think it's great, you cannot stop it. If you see the patterns of what it is, if you see the stupidity of what it is, then slowly you will distance yourself and it'll collapse. Because without attention, it cannot go on. The moment you think there is some value to what you think, then you can't stop it. No way to stop it. It'll just go on and on and on. When you see there is absolutely no life value to your thought process, it is just memory recycling itself. It's just the same old nonsense recycling itself. But if you're excited, if you're enamored by this recycle, if you think it's great, you cannot stop it. If you see the patterns of what it is, if you see the stupidity of what it is, then slowly you will distance yourself and it'll collapse. Because without attention, it cannot go on.
Mit diese Credit entspannt finanzieren und 4K-Beamer installieren? Leila kann. Empower-Rechner investieren.
We must understand relationships are formed for various needs. There are physical needs, there are psychological needs, there are emotional needs, there may be social needs, there may be financial needs, various kinds of needs. So when you're going to somebody with so many needs, you're going as a beggar, and a beggar cannot choose. So if you really want to make a choice in this world, first and foremost thing is you bring yourself to your place where your experience of life is just pleasant by yourself. You're wonderful. Now, let us see what gets drawn to this one. If you're really wonderful, things will happen in every way, I'm saying. In terms of career, in terms of marriage, in terms of relationships, the best will happen to you because you made yourself like this. We must understand relationships are formed for various needs. There are physical needs, there are psychological needs, there are emotional needs, there may be social needs, there may be financial needs, various kinds of needs. So when you're going to somebody with so many needs, you're going as a beggar, and a beggar cannot choose. So, if you really want to make a choice in this world, first and foremost thing is you bring yourself to your place where your experience of life is just pleasant by yourself. You're wonderful. Now, let us see what gets drawn to this one. If you're really wonderful, things will happen in every way, I'm saying. In terms of career, in terms of marriage, in terms of relationships, the best will happen to you because you made yourself like this. We must understand relationships are formed for various needs. There are physical needs, there are psychological needs, there are emotional needs, there may be social needs, there may be financial needs, various kinds of needs. So when you're going to somebody with so many needs, you're going as a beggar, and a beggar cannot choose. So, if you really want to make a choice in this world, first and foremost thing is you bring yourself to your place where your experience of life is just pleasant by yourself. You're wonderful. Now, let us see what gets drawn to this one. If you're really wonderful, things will happen in every way, I'm saying. In terms of career, in terms of marriage, in terms of relationships, the best will happen to you because you made yourself like this. We must understand relationships are formed for various needs. There are physical needs, there are psychological needs, there are emotional needs, there may be social needs, there may be financial needs, various kinds of needs. Ensuring that your life becomes difficult too. So first and foremost, success is that you are not a slave to anybody's idea. This is success. Walking is great, There is no such thing as failure. Failure is an idea. Because success is also a stupid idea. It's your idea. What is success and what is failure, isn't it? Instead of trying to change the world, change your idea. Isn't it easier? If you just change your idea of success and failure, everything is great, isn't it? If you were a beggar on the street, today, if you could walk into the restaurant, eat a masala dosa and pay 10 rupees bill, this would be the height, the peak of your success. Isn't it so? So, you've gotten trapped in social situations and it is not even your idea. Why am I crediting you with this? It is somebody's idea of what is success, isn't it? Don't become a slave to somebody's idea. At least have your own idea. You have no idea of your own. Don't deceive yourself. Every idea, every thought, every emotion, every value that you have is picked up from somewhere and it rules you from within. It rules you from within. Your religion, your society, your culture, has trained you to believe that this is it. So the first and foremost success is that you are not a slave to anybody's idea. This is success. Whatever the situation of life, you're alive means you're successful, isn't it? This is success, you're alive. You don't know the value of life. You're crying about the share market. You do not know the value of life. Because the damn graph is going up and down, you want to die. No, but I lost so much money. There is no such thing. These are all social things. These are not existential things. We created the society for our well-being, not to take our lives. Yes? You created your family, your social structure and every other damn thing for your well-being, not to take your life, isn't it? Don't make things that you create, things that human beings create, larger than your life. That is the basis of your suffering. So when you say fate, obviously it's something that you cannot do anything about. When you say luck, again, obviously it's something that you cannot do anything about. When you say God, again, it's something that you cannot do anything about. So only thing that's in your hands is effort. So put your 100% into your effort, what happens, happens. So don't leave proportions of your energy and your capability to luck, God, fate, all these things. That's not your business. If there is such a thing, it will act. Your business is only effort, isn't it? Just do that. Effort has to be incisive in the sense, it should be focused, calibrated. Simply if you make effort, it's foolish effort, isn't it? Just labor is not going to get you somewhere. Right